Setting up a new game as Norway, Harald, Hardrada. Gonna try the Konge. I've tried the Varangian ability, and that's more geared towards city states and a Diplo kind of setup. This is the traditional, the first version of Harald, which is more geared for war. Um, the main abilities that Norway has is the units can enter ocean tiles on shipbuilding, and pretty much they can heal anywhere. And Units can embark and disembark without losing movement points. It's huge, very very beneficial if you have like a large, like a coastal empire. To that end, the map type on this, will probably be playing either continents or small continents. I try to avoid the archipelago maps or the really small island maps because it does make district placing very. There is no value in district placing in that sense. It's much more fun when you have some land to work with and a lot of coast as a Norway. Um, the other ability, the unique ability for Konge Harald is that coastal raids pretty much give you a bonus production and science and gold from pillaging other stuff. Um, the You get a free longship at sailing. It's a very, in the early game, early to mid game, you are geared for war. You want to be very aggressive and very antagonistic to your neighbors, regardless of whether they are city states or civilizations. And essentially, you want to plunder culture and science and gold and production, just off the bat. Um, you and that pretty much sets you up into a pivot. Like if you manage to, it's flexible enough that you can continue on and get a domination victory, or you can pivot mid to late game into other victory types as they're available. Um, the longship is really strong. It does get outdated or obsolete by the time you are at caravels, but it's a very strong early unit to have to kind of just bully your neighbors. The Berserker is actually fantastic, but it's a very offensive driven unit. It basically gets a it's weaker defending, but it's extremely powerful attacking. So if the situation demands it, having like a Berserker core army, like set up with yeah, like doing like pull rushes into immediate neighbors would actually be useful. So if we end up on a continent where we are sharing land, it's not going to be a big problem. The idea with Norway is going to be warring early, warring often, and securing our home continent and possibly like our neighboring area before any other victory types or pivots can be managed. Um, the Stave Church is, I think it's an okay building. It's a good building to have. Um, on the, it's we don't know if there is going to be a faith game, but there definitely is value in having holy sites in Norwegian cities, whether you get a religion or not. And those holy sites can build a Staves Church, which is like the temple replacement. And it gives you basically an extra adjacency for woods, which you may or may not have. The more important thing for the Stave Church is the production for each coastal resource tiles. So if you have a lot of coastal cities, it's beneficial for them to have holy sites, so that they can build a Stave Church and get an extra buff in production. Um, but yeah, but overall, as long as the map looks right and the initial setup looks good, this is a you want to basically plan for Dom and then see if you can pivot into some other victory type if it's better. But Dom is a very doable victory type depending on the other civs that are that might spawn. Um, so yeah, the game difficulty will be deity as always. Standard game speed. Now instead of continents, we could pick continents and islands or small continents. Um, I am very torn between which. If I was to pick continents, I would totally go ahead and pick the wetlands map. The wetlands map with 8 civilizations, you're most likely to end up with two blocks of land with 4 civilizations each, um, with a good balance of I would expect half our cities would be on the coast and the other half would be inland. Um, Decently balanced. Continents and islands can end up as a crapshoot because if you are on the continent side of things, if you spawn on the continent, then you will have a balanced kind of a land. But if you end up spawning on an archipelago, it yeah, your start and your gameplay might be impacted. Um, Small continents, however, is probably the best suited for Norway because odds are you will be on a continent size where there will be one other civilization on your continent, and um, you can pretty much, as long as you can hold that civilization off and either conquer them or essentially vassalize them, right? The game should play well. Um, Besides that, I don't see any other map type that I feel I want to play Norway as. Fractal map can be really interesting, but the whole the map can get really wild, and yeah, I don't like playing on too crazy maps. Um, yeah, the worst thing for Norway is the inability to build its uh, coastal army, coastal navies, or other is navies and dominate the seas. If you can't do that in the early game, yeah, Norway's initial ability is lost. So we definitely, I'm gonna go with small continents for now, um, and standard size. So there will be 8 civilizations. Now, since we are warring, um, and we do not care too much about city states, so I'm going to not have barbarian clans enabled. Um, as far as uh, dramatic ages, no. Apocalypse, no. Heroes and legends, Norway with Sinbad is amazing. Um, but I'm gonna stay away from heroes and legends for now. Um, Monopolies and corporations, we could keep this on. Um, it does if you see a pivot towards culture, having this mode on, you're more likely to pursue a culture victory because of the buffs you get. But by then, your empire needs to be set up and dominating, and hopefully have a few monopolies in place. If you can manage it, it's possible. But this one, I'm putting it purely in place just so that we do see options to use conquest as a means to gain monopolies, and then see where we go. Um, Secret societies is enticing for Norway, but I'm going to pass. I'm going to leave it off. It's very situational, and the way I see it is, if you pick this game mode on, the game does get lopsided depending on the secret society you pick. Like Void Singers for a cultural victory and Hermetic Order for a science victory. It just gets easier. It just gets easier to get to those victory types if you have those on. Um, the actual map, I'll definitely play with abundant resources in this case, and start position will be legendary. The temperature will be, it can be standard, but I definitely want like wet and lush lands. And the sea level. So with small continents, I'm going to pick low sea level so that there is more land overall, which makes it a little harder for Norway to move boats around. But I'm going to, instead of 12 city states, I'm going to bump that up all the way to 18. So we don't have barbarian clans. So these 18 civilized city states are going to be the 18 we start with and the 18 stay throughout the game. But I'm at least six of them, up to six of them, or maybe even more, will get conquered. Hopefully by Norway, but definitely the AI doesn't have tolerance for an AI, so for a city state that it feels like could be within their lands. They will declare war. This number will come down. And the further number comes down, the more the less city states there are, which basically makes a city state oriented play less likely. Um, and I think that's it. Okay. Do we want to pick specific civilizations to see if we want to? Yeah, let's do that. Let's pick a bunch of coastal or sea oriented um, civilizations. So maybe Byzantium? Either one. The Dromon is a very nice coast. Let's pick civilizations which have unique sea units. How about that? Pick by the Basil the third. Um, not China, not Cree. Let's definitely pick England, Eleanor or Elizabeth or Victoria. One of them. Okay, Sea Dog. Actually, I can do both. Let's see. Yeah, let's pick Elizabeth. She should be fun. Who else? Gaul, Georgia, Germany, Simon, Indonesia for sure. Japan doesn't have a unique sea unit, but we can pick them. We can come back to them. North Korea. Maori is very annoying to play against. I will pick them if I don't have anybody else. But I am going to pick Netherlands because of their coastal, how coastal they can be. Um, who else? Nubia, Ottomans. Ottomans would be fun. Let's pick Suleiman, the first version of Suleiman, who's more war oriented. Um, okay. Dido, for sure. Dido pretty much guarantees that, like admirals, she will build harbors like crazy, or the Kotons, which are the unique harbors. And yeah, it will definitely make it harder for Norway to do its thing. Rome, Portugal. Okay, there you go. A game set up with Byzantium, England, Indonesia, Netherlands, Ottomans, Phoenicia, and Portugal. So, out of the lot, I want to say that England, Phoenicia, and Portugal have very strong coastal leaning. Even Indonesia, but the other three, Netherlands, Ottoman, and Byzantium, they only have a coastal unit. But this should kind of give us a good balance of what to expect. Okay, that's for the games. Okay, what is the colors are conflicting. So Ottoman can be green. That's better. And you, Portugal, can be light green. I think that's fine. That's it. That's going to be our setup.